Well, hello. Today's a little bit different of a video. Instead of cooking and making something delicious to eat, I get a lot of questions about cleaning the pans and cleaning the cookware, and guess what? This cookware has seen some good food come out of it, and you can see that because it is sitting here, and I have some in various stages of help needed. This one has been sitting for over a day, and you can see it's really caked on. I mean, I can let you know that the meat came out of there. It was delicious with that crust that was created, but the pan needs some help now. And now this one that had a big, beautiful roasted chicken in it is a little bit more fresh, but you can see you have the browning, the caramelization around the edges. You have all those drippings down in there, kind of caked on. Needs to be cleaned. And then baking sheets. I do not buy new baking sheets all the time. I get asked a lot, like, how do things look new? Well, I scrub them. And you can see this one's already getting some discoloration here from some water that sat on it. And so we're gonna talk about the different things I do. I use all stainless steel cookware. So my roasting pan is stainless steel here. My skillet is stainless steel, just like my saucepans are. I do, for baking sheets, use all these aluminum baking sheets. This is aluminum. So the differences are, when it comes to stainless steel, I don't like to scour them with something abrasive. I don't like to use these SOS pads on my stainless steel because it will actually leave scour scratches like you see on this one after I cleaned it really well. So on these, I always use Barkeeper's Friend. It's really simple. It's just an all-purpose cleaner that works so well. It does not scour. It is beautiful and it works perfect on stainless steel. So this has been around forever. My grandma always used it on her Revereware cookware with the copper bottom. Beautiful. So to get started though with these, we're gonna first start by, come over here. Come over to the sink. This is where the magic happens. So for something that's been sitting like this, I like to get some hot water, and I wanna soak this one a little bit. Because as you can see at the moment, like me, look, nothing's even coming up really right now. So what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of soap in there, and I'm gonna let it sit with some soap. But what we're gonna start with while this is soaking is that big roaster. So I'm gonna let that soak. It's just gonna do its thing, try to get a little bit of that worked up. And then this roaster, I kind of already got the drippings out as best I could, but now what I like to do is rinse out just any of the debris that is loose. So I'll kind of rub my hand around and I'll just rinse it out. And what that does is, you can see now, it got some of the stuff off, but not all of it. So I'm gonna set it here, and I'm gonna start by putting a little bit of soap in it, and just first wash it as if I was gonna just wash it and put it away. So we're gonna put a little of soap in there, and we're gonna take our dish rag and just kind of wash around. What I'm doing is working up all the dirt that I can get that is loose. To me, it's always best to start with what's loose, what comes off. And you can see the water's turning color, so you know that some of it is loose. And we're gonna try to get as much as we can, which isn't all of it. So easily there, and let's just rinse out that rag. You can see now, and now I'm doing this a little different than I would. You know, in a kitchen, I would have water going in the sink, but on a video, it's easier to rinse it out and waste a little bit more water than I usually would. So the first wash, you got a lot of it out, but look, in the corners, we see all the browning. We see it all down in here, and that's a little harder to get, and we want this to look cleaner. You also see over in here, it kind of has this weird effect where there's kind of like some fat from the chicken was on it, and it's not getting it perfectly shiny and silver. This is where our friend, Barkeeper's Friend, comes in handy. So we're gonna take this powder, and we're just gonna shake it on. It likes to have a little bit of wetness in it, so that's why I didn't dry this out completely. And then I take my rag, and I just start working it around. So I work into those corners and those edges. This is what I do no matter what I have been cooking usually. If I cook beans in a saucepan and it leaves a little bit of discoloration in the bottom of my stainless steel cookware, guess what I do? I use Barkeeper's Friend. If I do anything with stainless steel and feel like it isn't looking shiny and brand new, I use Barkeeper's Friend. And I do it all the time because that's what helps keep things new overall. So I'm going to look at that over into that corner, how caked on that one really is. And you can see as I rub, it's non-abrasive, so we're not scouring it, we're not scratching it with a bad surface like metal. What we're doing is just beautifully getting it all up. So then what we do, we wanna rinse out our rag. Now once I use a rag with all this Barkeeper's Friend, I will not use this now on my counters until I wash it again. Because it kind of has I think it leaves a film on things if you do. So once I use it with Barkeeper's Friend, I just make sure that I wash it really soon. So sometimes it takes 2 passes. We're gonna look here. Once we get it all rinsed off, Look at that. That's pretty good. There's a few little pieces. I'll just do a little bit more. And this is something you can use inside of it, outside of it, and all around. So this now is getting it pretty perfectly done. I'll even go up onto the handle if I need to, go up onto the edges as I need to. These rivets are always the hard point. Sometimes you have to use your fingernail, just get as best you can. Go around the edges. So like this, I'm gonna say is, by now I've had this probably at least 6 years. And as long as you do this every time, this is called the lasagna pan, but honestly I use it for roasting because it's a nice little size. And now we'll do a final rinse. It looks beautiful. I'm seeing the shine. That shine is what you want because you want it to be clean. The thing is, if you don't perfectly clean it, all those messy spots, all that dirt spot, if you don't get it off the first time, that's where it's first gonna get dirty the next time. So I'm gonna dry this one. As I'm drying it, look at it, it's beautiful. I'm gonna dry it, we'll set it aside, and we're gonna move on to that skillet. Now this hasn't soaked too long, and if you are thinking something is really caked on, what I would do is just fill it about halfway up with water, put it on your stove, and boil it for a couple minutes. That boiling is actually gonna start activating and getting underneath that dirt that's stuck on. Because let me show you something. So this has sat for a few minutes, and all it really has done is start to soften some of that. So I like to take a plastic scraper. This is just a plastic food scraper, and look, instantly what I'm doing, I'm wiping up and scraping with plastic that food debris up. And what that's doing is giving me a chance to not scratch the skillet. I'm never into scratching. There is no point in scratching. Be kind, just like you wouldn't be abrasive to a person. Don't be abrasive to your cookware. It just makes sense. So as I'm doing this though, every so often, we should rinse. So we can have a clear kind of, I know this sounds kind of odd and it's like, Caleb, is this sponsored? No, this is not sponsored. I would always tell you if I had content that was sponsored. This is 100%. I get so many DMs and questions and emails daily asking how I clean my cookware and asking if I buy new cookware all the time. No, mine is years old. I do not believe in that. I believe in having something, taking care of it, and using it forever. So I'm using this plastic scraper, and look what I'm doing. I'm just really working all that up. So this sat overnight dirty. I saved it. Do you know how hard it was for me to not clean this after I got the meat out of it? You may not know me well. I don't like to leave a mess. And I don't like to go to bed with a messy pan in my kitchen, but all for you guys. I did this. So you can see what this is working really well. Look how I'm just going around and getting all that caked on meat fond up. So now it's better than it was. I would not say it's done by any means. So guess what we're gonna do again? Yep, our best friend Barkeeper. We're gonna put some of this just down into it again, which this is just a powder. And again, I'm just gonna take my rag, that same rag I was using on the other one, and we're gonna start working around. And as we do this, you're gonna see, look at that. Look how instantly it just starts cleaning all that up. Now, if you do this every time you get something caked on, guess what? It only takes a few minutes every time. You're gonna be a lot more happy than you are if you let it get really bad and keep cooking and baking on it and don't. So I'm gonna clean this one up and I'll show you when it's done. I got it done, I rinsed this one all off. I do the handle, I do the back, I do the front. I wanna do it all because look, when you're done, shiny, clear, beautiful, look at that. That's why my pans always look new. It's not because I buy new. It's because if you take care of them, they just do. So we have 2 down. I'm just getting my chores done with you guys. This is kind of nice. 1 to go. So on these aluminum baking sheets, I put parchment down, but they always inevitably will get discolored and they will get dirty over time. You can eventually, for quite a while, do Barkeeper's friend and get it off. Eventually, you're gonna get discoloration that does not come off with that. So after a couple years, I will switch over to SOS pads. They're abrasive. I don't like to use them on my aluminum cookware because they will make marks. And you can see here, if you see the etching that goes back and forth, that's from using SOS pads. But guess what? It will get all that off and it will get kind of this discoloration on the back. See there? From you touching it, putting it back in the oven. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna rinse it. We're gonna get the SOS kind of wet. We're gonna bring it up here. I'm just gonna show you. If you work back and forth slowly, which it takes a little bit, but see how the SOS pads have a little bit of cleaner in them too, but what they are is a fine wire. So that's why we are actually creating a little bit of a scratch on it. And yes, every time you do make a scratch, that's where a food can stick, but eventually, just to, you know, I do this so in my videos, when I'm using these, they look clean because no one wants to watch a food video where they look grungy. At home, if yours start looking grungy and you're fine with that, they're still good to cook on. There's no reason you have to have them looking shiny. But I also have a mom that every time she comes over, if I don't do this, hey Caleb, do I need to clean your pans? So I do it so she doesn't have to. So I do it on the fronts, and you can see that color that comes off, it's actually getting it off. But then I will also flip over and do it on these sides. So do you see that discoloration? Now I'm gonna get it off, and look at that, it's gonna look brand new. So I'm gonna do this all over. I'll rinse it off, and they'll look pretty good. So you can see from a distance, this looks pretty brand new. Now I know I'm gonna hear people say, oh, use baking soda, oh, use vinegar, oh, use dryer sheets and let them soak in it. Yeah, you can do that. After years and years of use and hard work, they're gonna look bad either way. So there's just a way to shine them back up, make them look good again. Now, of course, with aluminum, I never bake directly or roast directly on it. I put parchment down. Aluminum, you don't want pieces of it, or you just don't want the contaminants of it to get into your food. So parchment always. I don't like silpats really. I think they're a little bit too slick for most things. But look at this. We have shiny, shiny, and shiny. And two different methods really, Barkeeper's Friend, SOS pad. You can start with Barkeeper's Friend on this, but eventually an SOS pad most likely will be needed, as over years, and just how much we use, think how much we use these. They need it, and that's okay. You can see that cookware can look brand new for years and years and years. Honestly, I believe for a lifetime if we take care of it, and that's the best part. You know, all these little tips, all these little tricks, they can seem time consuming, they can seem like, hey, I'm tired, it's late at night, I don't wanna do this. A few minutes at a time will make you so much happier later on when you can pull this out and say, wow, that looks brand new. That's exactly what you want. So what do I hope you do with this? I hope you stop asking me how to clean my pans and you just start doing it, because it is a great thing to do. And I hope you share this around so everyone can see, hey, that weird guy in Iowa, he showed me how to clean my pans, and look at him now. Get everyone excited because this is doable. Check my website, wiseguy.com, for tips, for tricks, for posts on how to do things, maybe how to enjoy life a little bit more. That's the good part, and a lot of good food is on there too with recipes. So until next time, clean some pots and pans, feel good about it, be happy, and enjoy your evening.